from the top, let's go!
Hello everybody, my name is Abil Fieskender and today I'm with
Jeril and
Alima.
Great. This interview / podcast is recorded for the sake of my research topic on how reading is not only a potent source of knowledge but also a great tool in preparation for the SAT and other English related exams. But the first goal of this interview is to enlighten and to make people know that all of the test takers' methodologies and ways on how making reading as a habit will give you an important high starting point when passing your SATs and other exams. And now we can begin. Please tell me about yourself more a little bit, Alima and Joe.
So I'm an exchange student here at FISMAT from Washington, D.C. I already graduated high school and I'm going to attend Virginia Tech next year.
Right. And Alima?
I'm Alima. I'm 17 years old. I was born in Almaty and I'm living there right now. And I'm a current student of RMSHA. I love reading. I love books. I love novels.
Great. And can you tell me a little bit about your passions, about your future pursuits, where you want to go? Like, I know you're in university, but tell me about your future pursuits.
Yes. So I want to go into economics.
Mm-hmm.
I love to travel. I've been to 25 countries. So I want to incorporate traveling into my future career. And I am trying to get my private pilot's license. I'm in the process of that. So.
Okay, please elaborate on pilot license.
So I can fly a 2-engine plane. That's it's a small plane up to eight people. My brother brought me into the world of aviation since I was 9 years old, and I fell in love ever since. Caught the travel bug. So
Got it. And
It's so cool.
that's a great thing. That's a great hobby to have. And what about your future pursuits?
I will make a double major in literature and something linked with history, and engineering, civil engineering, since I love physics. And it's my dream and also I want to make the projects based on inclusivity and linked with literature and engineering.
Great. And tell me about your everyday routines. Like, what you do every day. Maybe there's something that you constantly, just without any sort of.
So I try to read 10 pages a day and journal my day. Usually towards the end of the night, where I add it in my to-do list, so I make sure to hit it every day because sometimes I have trouble starting to read. But oftentimes I end up reading 20, 30, or even a chapter a day as you just get into the flow of it.
Got it.
And also journaling. Sometimes I'll think there's not much, I just ate breakfast or I just woke up, went to school, but that's what matters, Yeah, I write down what you had for breakfast or if your teacher had a funny tie on that day. So little things like that.
Right. What about you?
Something with reading?
No, just something in
Okay,
general.
the first thing that I put the makeup on.
Got it.
And with the reading, I have the habit of reading in the bus or on the way to home or school. So yeah, the reading for 2 hours maybe a day. Then just studying math, physics. Yeah.
Got it. Hard schedule. And let's return back to the exam aspect of it. How long did you prepare for the SAT? I know you both passed the SAT and... first, tell me about your scores actually.
So I received a 1540.
1540 and specified in the verbal section?
740.
740. Alima?
1430. And verbal 660.
660. Great. And going back to my question, how long did you prepare and study for the exam actually? Let's start with Alima.
Okay, I started preparing the previous November with course, 3 months course, but I haven't worked with this course, like no efforts. So I just forget about everything. I knew the structure of the SAT, and then I registered for the SAT for the June. And 4 days before the exam, I started preparing, like making practices. Yeah,
Okay.
so there was no preparing actually.
It was for the how many times you took the SAT?
2 times.
2 times. It was for the first preparation.
Yeah.
You didn't study. And for the second one, you
No study.
didn't study at all. Too.
It was summer, August.
And yeah, okay. And you
That's
decided
the
to.
time to have fun, you know.
Right. And how long did you study for your exam? I know you're a native speaker.
So in America, you take something called the PSAT your freshman and sophomore year,
Mhm.
9th and 10th grade, and that's like required by the state, like you're allowed to sit in. But I didn't study for either of those. I studied for my actual SAT for about a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Got it. Constantly every day.
Every day, about an hour or so.
Got it. And how was your preparation, like in details? How did you prepare for the SAT? Let's start with.
So I did all self-study.
Mhm.
One major thing was the Black Book. I found it on Amazon. I mean, you can find it on like Caspia.
Right.
Sure.
The SAT.
Yeah, Black Book. But I don't know how it is with the digital. I don't know if they released a new version or not. But the Black Book goes over every single detail of the SAT. Like if it's not on the Black Book, it won't show up on the SAT. So once you start memorizing the rules, especially for the English section and the grammar section, you can get a pretty high score there.
Got it. So you took the SAT once?
Twice.
And what changed between those attempts? maybe you prepared a little bit more. Or...
Yeah, I believe I was more stricter with my studying. I made a conscious effort to sit down and study.
Yeah, and during that study, you were constantly reading just for your enjoyment, right?
Yeah, I've been leisurely reading for about like 4 or 5 years now. So.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And
I'm sorry. I said that there was no preparation for CC, but during the whole year, I was reading the books in English. Like I started read the books in English. Yeah.
So you were constantly reading too?
Yes, yeah.
Got it. That's an important point. And now let's shift our focus a little bit more on reading actually as a process. And for how long you read. Like I already asked you a day how long you read, but for what time? Maybe from your...
So I don't set a like certain amount of time. I try to read 10 pages a day.
No, I mean from what age?
Oh, from what age? So I used to read as a little kid, you know, Magic Tree House or Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But then I got too cool for reading.
Mm-hmm.
But then I eventually fell back into it around 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. So it's something that you're always kind of...
Yeah, I've always been
gravitated to.
acquainted, yeah.
Got it. Alima?
Okay.
From what time do you read?
I can tell you the whole story. Like my name, Alima, came from Arabic word ways. So my mom called me especially Alima. So when I was 3 years old, she gave me the book. She said me like I must to accomplish this book. So first I started reading. Yeah, from my 3 years.
So 3 years old. Great. And I think it would be an obvious answer, but do you like to read?
Yeah.
Like, is it a thing that you you just read because you have to, and it's sort of a skill that you have to attain, and that your future pursues and all that, or you just like to read?
It's a mixture of both. I find reading as a form of meditation, as well. You learn from reading, and that's a skill that you need until you die. So it's pretty useful.
For me, something entertaining, like I don't know, leisure time. Reading, I don't know. It's like it's my spare time. It's not work for me.
Mm-hmm. So the motivation that you kind of have when reading is just you like it, right?
I like it, yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel sort of curious or interested about the book when you read?
Definitely. There's many times where I start a book, like a quarter way in, I'm not interested in it, so I'll just drop it. You know, you don't have to read every book cover to cover.
You have to be selective, and so.
Yeah.
Got it. And what about you? What is your motivation to read?
I love the stories.
Stories.
Yeah,
Details.
I love the stories. I love the details in the stories. So in every book, I can find the special detail that I love and can incorporate in my life. Yeah.
Great. And what are your favorite books?
So.
No, let's start from Alima.
Okay, my first novel was Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's still my favorite book.
Of all.
Yeah, but also I love the Portrait of the Lady.
Okay. What about you?
Funny enough, Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice, like, they're my favorite. It's my favorite book as well.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. Please tell me about, like, what did you like? I never read that book, and I'm pretty curious about it. Tell me about it a little bit.
Okay. I mean, it started the, like, hate, like, enemies to lovers trope that you find so common nowadays. And her way of writing is, it immerses you into the world. You imagine yourself as a Victorian girl, like, coming of age woman, I would say. So it's, you can learn from, like, you can see it from her perspective, give her sympathy, and it's like little things like that put you into that world that I really love about it.
Got it. And
I love the character of Elizabeth Bennet, actually. Like, she's the way she like acts. I don't know. She's her dialogues, her answers to others.
Great. And what are the main qualities that a book should have in it in order for you to pick it up, to read? Let's talk about it.
The qualities?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you mentioned that you like the characters and, like, you know, the thing that catches you in the book.
In the Pride and Prejudice?
No, just in general.
In
order to choose the book.
I love the special flow that authors use in the writing. And also, I love the characters. No, like, I don't have like special stories with the literature, but I love the very essence of it. Like, isn't it amazing that humanity have come up with such an aesthetic way to share its consciousness, like the consciousness of the book, the experience, and
Yeah, let's see. What about you?
Usually I do some research into the books that I read or buy. But I would say actually the cover is, I judge a book by its cover.
Great.
Great. Because if it tells you everything, that there's a synopsis on the back. If you don't find the back, like, if you don't find it interesting or anything of value, there's, like, you're gonna waste your time reading it. So I do judge a book by its cover. Proudly.
So, going through that, what are your favorite genres? Like, certain patterns that you look?
Novellas.
Novellas.
The books about women, the matrimony.
Women, like a woman power. Got it. And you?
I more delved into classics as well as financial literacy books. I think it's just a great way to get some knowledge.
So you usually read something in your sort of genre, right? Novels and literacy. But are you open-minded in order, like, to read another books, like, that are out of your genre?
Definitely. Even if I, like, see, like, a random book that looks interesting or someone else is reading, I'll pick it up. A good, like, romantic or coming of age story always interests me. But also the thing with reading is that a lot of authors like to drop hints or reference other previous literature pieces. So you get more curious and you want to read the original source, which makes you, like, in a never-ending loop
Right.
reading.
And
Like the most important for me in the book,
mhm.
it's the characters, their accent, like their behavior. So for me, it's very important. And
Yeah,
it's
are
not-
you willing to just pick the book, like maybe on um, atomic physics? Like if you want, if it looks interesting to you, if the content is interesting to you, are you willing to take that book?
physics? Like I'm interested in physics, so yeah.
Yes.
But
Oh.
if there's like
Okay.
the detective or
Yeah.
horror,
Right.
horror definitely no.
Okay.
But
Got it.
that
Got it.
maybe.
So there's some genres that you don't like pick it up even. Okay. And now let me introduce you to the concept of critical thinking. Critical thinking is a type of cognitive process in which person interpret, analyze, and evaluate what he or she reads. Are you familiar with this concept? Alima? Sure.
Subconsciously, yeah.
Subconsciously.
You finally put a name to it.
Right, right. And are you familiar with critical
Probably.
thinking? Probably. Got it. Now, yeah, what do you want to say? Okay. Now, can you tell that constant reading helps with developing powerful critical thinking skills? If yes, how so?
Definitely. They're able to just read between the lines, or being able to decipher what an author is trying to say. You gain the ability to learn the context
Through reading.
through reading and apply that to real social situations as well.
Mm-hmm.
You see it every day. You know, people can't like navigate socially, and like because I'm losing my train of thought, but it does help you with your critical thinking.
Got it. Got it. And Anima, does constantly reading helps you with developing critical thinking skills?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's also the main thing. I haven't mentioned, but while the reading, I'm reflecting on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thought
yeah.
process.
Yeah. So it's like definitely improve your critical thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it. So, how do you think you can use critical thinking while solving the actual test questions that will be presented in SAT or any other test, actually? Alima?
You can see, you can expect what will be after this sentence.
Mm-hmm. So you have natural patterns. You know the patterns.
In some time, yeah.
Sometimes. And critical thinking helps you with that.
Yeah, like the negative and positive things,
Mm-hmm.
or some synonyms. Yeah.
And you develop that from
Reading.
reading. Great.
Reflection.
And what about you, Jeril? There are some aspects of questions that you can apply critical thinking to?
Yeah, especially when you read the passages,
Mm-hmm.
you can understand the author's perspective or his motives behind writing the piece, why his opinion is that versus this, and you gain all of that by reading. You're able to see specific things like word choice, and it's minute things that people normally don't pick up on that you can start learning to see every day. And you can even apply beyond from textbooks and tests to real world, in business meetings or social situations.
Got
So
it.
it's kind of-
And there is another concept that I would like you to introduce to you, is intertextuality. Are you familiar with this?
I can't say.
Intertextuality. Okay. Intertextuality is defined as relating elements of the previous text that influence and gather the present text. Sort of a transformation, You kind of put this information before that. Are you familiar with this? Or you just naturally know?
Do you mean other pieces, other books before that influence other?
No, it's sort of... Okay, I'll repeat. Intertextuality is defined as relating elements of the previous text that influence and gather the present text.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please tell me your version of it, Joe?
What is it they like say? There's never an original idea. Everything is coming up from
Right.
something, and we all put our own little twist to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we do in daily life and in literature as well. So,
Mm-hmm. Got it.
so
I don't know. Do you have something to say about it?
There are some the common things that come in the books, like the same.
Mm-hmm.
So in the city, they also have met these things.
Yeah, I think it's even the kind of section question about that, no? About the critical thinking and intertextuality.
yeah,
Understanding
I think it is a question type.
right. And how reading can help you in everyday life, basically just like exist as a human being. Let's move a little bit from the intertextuality.
Me personally, it calms me down. If I had a stressful day, I can pick up a book and I can take myself out of, I can distract myself from my problems and like throw myself into a different world for a little bit, which I find a bit useful. And it's a good time. What can I say?
Well, actually, that's pretty unusual, don't you think? It's like many people take the social medias in order to distract them,
Mm-hmm.
and to calm them down, but it doesn't really. Yeah, but you chose books.
I chose books. I mean, I still succumb to social media all the time. TikTok, man. But I do prefer books and reading as well. I feel like it also benefits me. You
Mhm.
can,
In which way?
when you read, you acquire knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always curious, about one thing or another. So I get to quench my thirst.
Got it. And how about you?
Okay, for me, like I've always asking myself that reading gives me every day, but 1 year ago or two, I realized that maybe the knowledge that I get every day, like now I have friends and who have some problems, so every time I don't know, but the right words so important. So and maybe it's from books.
So, can you summarize, please? You understand people by reading books?
It give me more empathy.
Empathy.
Yeah, I gathered the empathy by.
So for you, it's not only a knowledge and curiosity thing; it's more of an emotional thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with you. You get to see different people's perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very insightful and helps you.
Yeah.
How reading can contribute to you being a better student, a better, I don't know, son, in the future maybe fathers, like I don't know. How it kind of contribute to you being a student? Let's start from that.
Increase vocabulary.
Increase vocabulary.
You can. The only way to understand or expand your vocabulary is through reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's the number one important factor.
Great. And you? How can reading contribute to being a
No
great student?
grammatical mistakes.
No grammatical mistakes. It helps with the. I think it's a writing section, right, on the SAT. Grammatical.
Yeah.
Testing. Yeah. And can you elaborate on how reading can help you be grammatical?
While the reading, you just see the words and remembering them, so there are no grammatical mistakes like putting the syllable. So and also your speed of reading is faster.
Mm-hmm.
And you read every time in the school.
You read. I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, there's no.
I know. And Alima, it's a specific question to you because you as a person, that is from Kazakhstan, and English is your I think it's a third language of yours, third language of ours, I would say, because I'm from Kazakhstan too. And was it hard for you to really start to read in English?
Yeah.
I know you read a lot in Russian, but can you please specify what happened?
It was really hard
was really
to start. There was November, I don't know, really hard. Like, it was not a pleasure for me to read in English.
Mm-hmm.
Like, previously in Russian, it was so good, but in English I not understand anything. So I just started, finished my first book. So after my first book, it was not so hard.
But during the first book, how you motivated yourself, how you pushed yourself. I know the
Maybe it's
motivation
the
is around.
discipline. Discipline. Just like I said myself that I need to finish this book, and after this book I will not open others. Like first book, one book, maybe the next will be easier. So it was like, yeah, discipline.
So you give yourself sort of a wiggle room, like if I finish this, I'm not gonna pick up the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps a little bit in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. And Jeril, you as a person that born and lived his whole life in America, tell me please your experience with reading books in English.
I mean, I can't relate to your struggle about reading English, but there was periods in time where I didn't enjoy reading, or like reading whatever book I was reading, and sometimes you just force yourself through. I agree, but I usually just motivate myself by like
tough it out.
You tough it out, like. It's a mentality thing where it's like you need to want to be like reading every single day, or not even every, like you need to have that drive or that passion, and just force yourself to sit down. I agree. Motivate yourself to not pick up anything else, not pick up your phone until you read. Like you read your book. Just tough it out.
Got it. And tell me about the vocabulary aspect of reading. And I heard from you, and I want to know your perspective about how reading helps vocabulary. Your case.
Okay, my case. I don't love the word that sounds not beautiful. So, like during the reading, my first book, I just picked some beautiful words and translate them and learning them. So it helped me to finish this book faster and not to burn out. Yeah, so you not need to learn all the words that you don't know.
So is there a thing like you, with the time you read, with the more you read, it's sort of, there's a root words, and then there's a
suffix.
Yes, suffixes, and you kind of can't understand if it is positive, it is negative, and that's how you kind of develop your vocabulary, isn't it?
Yeah. That divulges into the linguistics part.
Right.
All languages borrow from somewhere else,
Yeah.
and you can see that, especially when you try and learn a new language.
Right.
You can see where the actual root of the words comes from. So it's very fascinating.
Yes. And coming back to intertextuality, you remember the what it is, or you want me to? Got it. Intertextuality is defined as, well, connecting and relating elements of the previous texts and passages that influence and gather the present text. It's sort of like a text after text, but it was edited, Yeah. And do you think you can strengthen your intertextuality awareness through reading constantly?
Yeah.
Because I think it's the only way, actually.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not just in reading. I would say it's in all sorts of media, music, movies. You see an artist sample a song from an old song, and then you go listen to the old song. You see how it is. Same thing with reading. You see, because they retell the same story in different ways, and it's just like choose your path. You know, what type of ending do
Right.
you want?
Right. And are there like any resources or ways that you can strengthen your awareness of intertextuality other than reading?
Do you know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking on it.
The things kind of
Oh.
that
It's like intertextuality. Like Jeril mentioned, it's not like everybody always has something new. It's like anything that is now has been previously edited. So it's sort of like intertextuality. In this regard, we're talking about text and passages. And do you think?
I would just say talk to different people. People who are from different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes you'll end up hearing the same stories or the same parables, you know, especially coming from like older, wiser people.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you the same things, you know, and you can learn from their mistakes. And I think it's just talking from different people, exploring, exchanging ideas like that. I agree. So
Got it.
watching YouTube.
YouTube.
Some vlogs, and also I read the magazines.
Magazines.
Mm-hmm.
You're reading magazines.
Yeah, about art.
Art.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I do want to ask you before I lose the idea, but do you find words beautiful by how it sounds or its meaning?
Like first, if I don't know the meaning of this word by the sound, so after maybe by the meaning.
Okay.
I really would like to know, like, because I'm a person that started to read from the summer holidays after my 10th grade, and I wasn't really a giant reader. But you two, she has been reading her whole life, and you too. And I want to know how your mindset works, your mind works. Like when you're doing a thing other than reading, for example, doing a homework and committing to anything, do you feel like a sort of advantage that you can sit down and really concentrate on this one for a long period of time as big readers?
Yeah, and sometimes it hurts me because I'll be doing homework and I think I just want to finish that book, and then I'll just be like, I'm not doing homework tonight. But yeah, I agree. Usually you can sit down, concentrate on whatever you're doing, so it's a useful skill in that aspect.
Reading helps with that.
Yeah, it goes back to meditation, being able to just be calm, and just sit there.
Got it. And Alima?
It helps you delve into the subject. I know reading gives you the skill of deeply think about it more and more and more. So during doing the homework, I'm also thinking pretty much.
So, do you find it easier to catch certain things in your classes? Like maybe you're sitting in, literature class I think would be obvious, but let's say BC calculus. You're sitting in the class, and I think, because my opinion, after reading 10 books on my summer holidays, I became mentally and sort of acute. I could have catch certain things a little faster, and I think it's a overall pattern that every reader has. And do you have anything correlation?
Do you want to go?
I think it's like a thing that for living Kazakhstans whose first language is English. It's the same thing for me.
The same thing for you?
Yeah.
You became smarter after reading?
After reading English, right?
Wait a second, let's summarize what you said.
Essentially, for BC calculus, I became more catchy, the things after reading 10 books.
Yeah, well, it's just it's not like a specific
So,
vocabularies.
yeah,
Mental acuteness.
thing is, you start to learn the syntax of the English, or not even English, any language,
Mhm.
when you read, and because languages always change. Like in Spanish, you put like you don't. It's the opposite order, sentence structure versus English. You'll say like it is like this water bottle is yours, not like your water bottle.
Mhm.
Like it's longer. But I'm trying to say is there's different syntaxes
Mhm.
for language, and you find that across other things like math. You find it's a lot of pattern recognition or basic rules,
Mhm.
and once you're able to learn that rule, you can apply it universally
So you're
across all problems.
yeah. So you're saying if you read like it's certain patterns that you can then apply in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
You have known about that?
Yeah.
I did. Okay. And I'll let you ask her. I know you're a big reader, but approximately how many books you read throughout your whole life? I've asked you some questions about that, but you were allowed to answer both of you, which is one thing that kind of connects you to.
See, I don't know how many numbers I got. All I know is like my to read list keeps on growing, and I will never be able to read it, like all of it. But I would say
More than 100?
yeah, definitely more than 100. Maybe like
If he's gonna say 1,000?
200, 300 maybe.
203,000. Okay.
Something like that.
Still a great number. And you?
Maybe same thing. And also I read thousands of no, not the books. The short stories.
What you mean?
I mentioned the comics is
Anime?
just essays.
Essays.
Uh-huh.
Got it. And by the way, do you think it's a beneficial thing to read not books, like long books, but just short periods? Does everything, like all the benefits of books, apply to short texts?
Yeah.
Or some are left out?
So sometimes I don't read every book cover to cover.
Mhm.
I told you, as I mentioned, I pick out what's a useful chapter and read that, so I don't waste my time. And also, one of my favorite things to read is New York Times column called Modern Love. They have tiny love stories, which are 100 words or less, and an actual modern love column, which is 1,500 words as a story. And it talks about different aspects of love, failed relationships or everlasting love. And I really like that. It's one of my favorite pieces to read every week. So
Great.
I recommend that to everybody.
Yeah, and do you find like benefits of, like, we mentioned a lot of benefits as vocabulary, understanding the text, the patterns, and does that apply to short text, like life stories in your?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Just it makes it easier for people to read. You know.
So reading in general helps with all of those things.
Yeah.
Got it. And you mentioned.
There are details everywhere, so details are the main thing.
Details remain the same.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a story. You know, it has its start, a finish, does its trick. So.
And no matter of how much content is there.
Yeah.
Got it. And to summarize all of what we just said, at the end, please tell our audience if you want to suggest to them to read, or just walk around and watch YouTube all day. Do you suggest them to read? Let's start from Alima.
Okay, please read. Like find your genre, because I love the books about love, about marriage, about women, but someone love about books about detective or horrors or comics as, I don't know, some strange books. So it's your choice just to read, and you can get like the positive effect of this.
Great. And do you suggest people to read?
Yeah, but I'd say draw your inspiration from anywhere. If it's your neighbor, YouTube, TikTok, find something that inspires you. It could be a topic such as physics,
Right.
and then pick up your next like physics book that you see. So you can find inspiration everywhere. Just be able to read though.
Read it.
Yeah, tough it out.
Tough it out. And that is the end of our podcast and / interview. As I said, I really appreciate you two coming. Like, really, thanks. And that's it.